In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to fill out the IRS Form W-4 for 2022 as married filing jointly. So if you have the paper version to the W-4 for 2022, or you have an online portal through your employer, this is going to be the best and fastest way in completing the IRS Form W-4 for 2022. Now we're going to use the online estimator, which is the recommended way to complete this by the IRS. So we're going to pull up the estimator, then you're going to get the printout at the very end where you can either turn in your printout or you can fill out your online employer's form. So let's go ahead and fill out the IRS Form W-4 online estimator, and I'll leave a link in the description at the bottom. Now this is from the IRS's website. Again, a link in the description at the bottom. Go ahead and click on this link right here. Use the tax withholding estimator, and then it will load. Since this is for married filing jointly, I'm going to go ahead and check off married filing jointly. Then the second question is, do you or will you or your spouse have a job that regularly withholds federal income tax from your paychecks? The answer is going to be yes. Then scroll down, select any that apply. I'm not going to check off anything for this walkthrough. I'm just going to click off next. Now this is an important section right here where you want to fill out the amount of jobs that you and your spouse have had or have. So if you no longer have the job, but it was in 2022, add it into the online estimator to be as accurate as possible. So go ahead and add the amount of jobs. So you can see it says 1 here, and if I click on that we have 2 jobs, that could be a job for you and your spouse. That would be 2. If only you have a job, then it should only say 1. If you have 2 jobs and your spouse has 1 job, that is 3 jobs. If you had a previous job, add that one as well. And then go ahead and move to the next section. So this is going to be my first income source. It does not matter if this is your income source or your spouse's income source. At the very end, you're going to get a W-4 for each job. So let's go ahead and fill this out together. And I'm going to click off salary for this walkthrough. Check off whichever applies for you. So I'm going to go ahead and check off salary. Then I'm going to say that I've had this job all year. If you have not had this job all year, check the other box and check the other radio button and then enter in those dates. So what you could say is that you've only had this job, say, since February, and go ahead and put that start date there. Again, I'm doing all year, so I'm going to check off all year from January 1st through December 31st. Now, if you don't think you're going to continuously work there through December 31st, but you're not really sure when that job is going to end, go ahead and put through December 31st. And then when your situation changes, come back to this online estimator and go through it again with the correct end date, and it will make the correct adjustment for you. That is what the nice thing about this online estimator is, that it's going to make all the adjustments for you as long as your information is correct and accurate. So let's go ahead and scroll down just a little bit. And then right here, we can see how frequently are you or your spouse paid. I'm going to say every 2 weeks. Then we're going to say when was our most recent pay stub. I'm going to say that it was on the 13th. Now you're going to need your last or most recent pay stub. Use the last pay stub that you received and enter the wages or salary per pay period. I'm going to go ahead and just enter in $5,000 for this walkthrough. Enter the wages or salary year to date. Let's say that we earned already $45,000. Your W-4 or your information might look very different than what I'm entering in. Go ahead and enter in your information from your pay stub. I'm just making this stuff up so you can see how it gets filled out. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down based on the information provided. It looks like your spouse's income for this job is $125,000. If that's true, then say yes. Otherwise, say no and make the correct adjustment. Now, here's where you're going to need to look at your pay stub. Enter the federal tax paid per pay period. So I'm going to go ahead and put $250. Again, yours could look very different, and it's okay if it does. This is going to make that adjustment for you. So year to date, I'm just going to say that we've withheld $4,000 so far. And then the next section where it says select any that apply, this is your pre-tax contributions to things like your 401k, HSA, FSA, or cafeteria plan. You want to put that information in here. If you're making contributions to the Roth side, since that is after tax, that is not what it's asking for here. It is only asking for the pre-tax amount, so it knows how to adjust your federal withholdings. I'm not going to check off anything for this walkthrough. Check off whichever applies for you and complete those sections. Going on to the second job, we can enter in exactly the same information, but for that second job or for your spouse. Now I'm going to scroll back up to the very top and only say that we have one job just so I can get through this walkthrough. But again, fill this out for each job that you have in the one online estimator. Do not fill it out multiple times. If you're married filing jointly, fill it out together one time. So let's go ahead and move on to the next section. If any of these apply to you, go ahead and check them off. For example, if you have a side hustle, you're going to need to withhold self-employment tax, which you can do through your W-4 with your W-2 job. Now for this walkthrough, I'm just going to click off next. But if anything applies for you, go ahead and enter it in here. Do not leave anything out, so this is as accurate as possible. Click next, and on this next section, these are going to be adjustments to your income. If you have any questions on the adjustments for income, go ahead and click on the question mark, which will give you a link to more information, including the publications associated with that section. So if you have a question about student loan interest deductions, you're going to click off IRS topic 456, and it's going to bring you to a new page with publications like publication 970. So I'm going to go back to the online estimator, and we're just going to move to the next section. Again, if anything applies to you, go ahead and mark it off. I'm going to click on next. Now here is where you're most likely will take the standard deduction. If it applies for you, if you have deductions above the standard deduction, then you would itemize. You'd use the itemized deductions. For most taxpayers, it's going to be the standard deduction, and for 2022, that's going to be $25,900. If you have different filing status, it's automatically going to come up with the correct amount of the standard deduction for your filing status. Now I'm going to click on next, and then we're going to get to the tax credits section. Again, if anything applies, go ahead and mark it off for yourself. For example, if you have children, go ahead and enter them in here. You want to put their ages in here, and if you have more than one, just click on the link that says add another child or another dependent, and go ahead and enter in all the tax credits that apply for you. I'm not going to enter in anything for this walkthrough, but if that's the case, go ahead and check off the section that applies for you, then click next. Now this last screen is very important. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, but it's this screen. It's just going to give you all of the information that we're going to need, because everything you've already entered in is already going to be all the way down here, and we can see all that information right here to figure out whether or not you made a mistake or if you left something out. It should all be right here, so save this for your records. Now right here are expected tax withholdings if we do nothing. If we don't submit this W-4, is going to withhold $8,000, but our anticipated tax obligation is going to be $13,042 given the information that we've put into this online estimator, meaning that we're going to have a shortage of withholdings of $5,042. Now if we scroll down just a little bit, you can see that this slider was already set to get a 0 refund, and that is because you want the biggest paycheck possible. Slide that over to the 0, and you're going to get the biggest paycheck possible given the information that you put into the IRS form W-4 online estimator. Now if we scroll down just a little bit, this is one of the most important parts of this entire video and this online estimator, and that is the results. Right here, you're going to see a link for Form W-4 already filled out for you. And it says enter 85 in additional withholdings. It's already going to be there. So this is automatically going to download for you. And if we scroll down just a little bit, you can see the extra withholdings at $85. Nothing else is complete because we don't need to complete anything else in this online estimator. All you need to do is enter in your basic information right here in step 1. Your filing status is already checked off, so just leave it as married filing jointly. And then you're gonna go down to the bottom and you're gonna sign it, date it, and turn it into your employer. Do not fill out steps 2, 3, or 4. Just enter in the information that is provided. So let's say that I went in and put in, I had 3 dependents and this was the output. Use this output. Do not go to step 3 and start multiplying 2,000 by the amount of children that you have, because then it will be completely irrelevant and will completely mess up your withholdings. So just put in what the online estimator says, because it's already making those adjustments for you. If you have multiple jobs, it's also going to be multiple W-4s. So if you go back to this section, we're gonna have multiple sections on how to adjust your withholdings for each job that you put into the online estimator. Now, this does not submit anything to the IRS or your employer. This is simply an online calculator that is going to give you a printout at the very end that you can either turn into your employer, your HR department, or plug into your employer's online portal that they might have set up a little bit differently, but all of the relevant information is on this printout. If you have any questions on the IRS Form W-4, I have a ton of different videos on the IRS Form W-4 for 2021 and 2022. Just go ahead and check out my other videos or let me know in the comments down below. And if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and we'll see you on the next one.